still much power in him. A great rage stirs within you.
Thanks to my adoration of one of the game's creators, Joe Madureira, I've been tracking the progress of Darksiders for a few years. As more and more information about the game was released, I was confident that his decision to leave comics to work in video games was going to pay off. Combining a fantastic design aesthetic with solid combat and platforming, Darksiders enters the new year as a frontrunner for the first must-buy title of 2010. Darksiders pits you in the role of War, one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. You were wrongly summoned to the earthly realm, bringing the apocalypse on early, thus removing humanity from existence. War faces judgment for his transgression, but claims innocence. Stripped of his powers and sent back out into the world, it's up to War to take down the real monster responsible for ravaging the world, the Destroyer. By your side will be the Watcher, a Navi-like guide of sorts that chaperones your quest. The story of a fallen hero on a path towards redemption isn't terribly new, but Darksiders' plot is compelling enough to keep you playing in order to find out what happens next. There's also a good deal of variety in the places you'll go and the demons you'll encounter, which helps keep things fresh over the 20 or so hours you'll be playing the game. There are plenty of nods and homages to classic adventure games to satisfy longtime gamers while still being completely accessible to newcomers. Developer Vigil Games has gone to great lengths creating a game that's entirely new while still paying tribute to games like Castlevania, God of War, and The Legend of Zelda. Most noticeably, the gameplay borrows some of the best elements from those games and adds a Darksider twist to make the gameplay its own. Basic sword combat is fairly simple and makes use of easy 1 or 2 button combos that are a breeze to pull off. As you progress, you'll earn new weapons to help dispose of demons like the Crossblade, a boomerang-like bladed projectile, a scythe, or the Redeemer, a massive angelic cannon. You'll also earn abilities that will aid you in your fight, like Shadow Flight, which allows you to glide for a brief time, or Blade Geyser, a power that summons huge blades from beneath the ground. Eventually, you'll even be able to transform into a hulking fiery demon or summon your steed Ruin to aid you in battle. Each of the different powers and weapons is fun to use and can be bought or upgraded with blue souls, the in-game currency. Souls can be earned by finding chests, killing enemies, or by completing challenge rooms. Several times throughout the game, you'll have to complete a handful of inescapable rooms to proceed. Challenges range from killing X amount of enemies in a time limit, to protecting a small group of unarmed demons, to killing demons using certain types of finishers. They're not terribly difficult, but there were times I just wanted to get on with the story and not have to trudge through another series of challenges in order to find out what happened next, and I wish you didn't have to complete them all to proceed. Exploring the game's dungeons is never arduous, but at times dungeon difficulty seems solely tied to how many enemies you'll have to fight, not challenging puzzles or platforming sections. Fortunately, the boss fights at the end of dungeons are epic and extremely satisfying to complete. While Darksiders may not bring anything completely new to adventure gameplay, the elements the game uses come together nicely to provide a fairly complete package. One would think that a game about a post-apocalyptic world would be dark and gloomy, with a color palette consisting of oversaturated grays and browns, but Darksiders doesn't follow the convention and presents a world full of vibrant colors. Even in darker segments of the world, like caverns and tunnels, the varying hues of demon spawn pop off the screen. Darksiders feels very much like a comic come to life and features wonderfully designed characters with huge, bulging muscles and elaborate costuming. There isn't much of a score to speak about, as the soundtrack is very subdued for most of the game. Unlocking a previously locked door will sound a familiar musical cue, but aside from that, there's not much to differentiate Darksiders' music from any number of adventure titles. You'll find a handful of animations repeat quite a bit, and some of the game's textures are a bit lacking, but Darksiders is a well-polished title that's made good use of lengthier development time. Darksiders doesn't try to reinvent the wheel when it comes to adventure games, but that's not a bad thing. There's actually quite a bit to like about the game, from the solid story and non-stop action, to the impressive character and level design, and you do well to give it a shot. Darksiders starts 2010 off on the right foot and sets the bar for the rest of the year in gaming. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out the full text review on Gamervision.com.